Okay, so what I'm going to do here is review the concepts, the major concepts, and how to use them throughout the paper. So clearly, this section right here in the theory model, in bullet format, you're going to list the major concepts, okay? As it says up above, you might write about them briefly in the major description of the theory, but you're going to be using these bullet-pointed concepts throughout the paper. They're usually just a couple of words, like for Orem, self-care, that's one concept. Culture, that's one concept, okay? So as you move down over here to the meta-paradigm, you're going to have the four concepts, right, of the meta-paradigm right here. So for person, we know person is the person that's going to be receiving the care, right? These are pretty self-explanatory concepts. So how does your major concept, say self-care, apply to a patient? So you might have 5 or 6 major concepts, but you don't need to apply every concept to every meta-paradigm concept. Choose one that you think best fits that concept, okay? So for environment, find one that fits. And again, make sure that when you are describing the concept of environment with your major concept, that it's clear to the reader that there's some discussion of your theory in that description. If it sounds all about environment and I can't tell that this has anything to do with your theory, then something is missing, okay? And what I'll point out to you is these are worth 2 points each. So when you look at the weight, 2 points is not a lot. So you really just need a couple of sentences here for each concept, okay? Then moving down to the practice. So when you're working with the 6 standards, choose a concept that best fits assessment. So self-care, right? Self-care, you're going to assess what is your patient's ability to provide self-care. Does the patient bathe themselves? Okay, that could be an example. Looking at the point spread, you have 15 points for 6 standards. So that's about 2 to 3 points per standard. Again, not a lot of text. So you want to write a couple of 3 sentences, 2 to 3 sentences that show the standard, which you don't have to define the standard, just write about how that one of those concepts fit in there. Okay? And then again, as you go down to research, again, you're going to talk about the major concepts. When you write about what the research is about, when you get to the part where you're talking about the design of the study, because this is where the theory is actually playing a major role in how it's being conducted. So for self-care, you might have a study that measures how well does a person bathe oneself. Okay? So, there might be like, say, a total score of this whole group of people as a score of 0 to 5. Everybody bathe themselves about a 3. Okay? So self-care is measured in bathing. Okay? So that's how a major concept for this study is using the theory to design the study. Okay? So the best way to really know if you are using your concept well is if you read that section, do you see the concepts from the theory description section in there, right? Or is it just sound just like the research study? Have you just simply described the research study and there's really nothing there that tells me that the theory was part of the design? Okay? So, and looking down here, make sure it's not an informational article. I've found sometimes students don't know the difference. So there's going to be a design, right? Participants, you know, an aim of the study, how is, you know, what are the findings, results, versus you won't find anything of that. Methods is another section. You won't find any of that in informational article. Okay, and again, the weight. So when you're discussing the theory and the research, it's 7 points. So it's not going to be 1 or 2 sentences. You know, I don't count sentences. The only time I really count them is when there's hardly any sentences. Okay. Again, 3 points here. You're not going to write a whole lot. You're going to write maybe a few sentences. This is just what do you think about it, right? Okay. So that's why I put this point here. Note the weight of each question. It really does help you know how much to write. Okay. I hope this helps. Please be in touch. I'm here all day. Let me know. So one last point that I wanted to make was about this APA checklist. Now this is here for you to learn how to format your paper. I suggest going back to your other paper, the assignment 1, and look back at that formatting errors that you might have made, whether it's references or formatting the title page, things like that. And then content, right? If you are at 7 pages of content and you feel like you have not been able to really express everything that you have explained in this paper, go back and look at the weight of each section. That's a really good way to determine if you've shared too much content in one section. Okay. And also look for sentences, sections that have just 1 sentence explanation, but it might be worth like 5 points or something. So, okay. I hope that helps too. Alrighty.